Hello everyone, how are you all doing today? Good. My name is Keith Frank. I'm the owner and inventor of CODA, which stands for the Colorado Offset Drain Attachment. Who do I have here in the crowd today? Do I have any builders, remodelers, great, distributors, tile contractors, interior decorators, designers? Anyway, how CODA came to be, how many of you have ever had a drain that has been misplaced and that you need to relocate? Yeah, quite a few, right? Everybody has. We've all had drains that, you know, the builder sits there and says, oh no, it needs to go here. I need the plumber over here. We got to jackhammer the floor. Causes job delays, and then he tries to blame the tile contractor or the other, the plumber for it. It's always the plumber, right? Anyway, so what happens here is how CODA came to be is I'm a tile contractor. I've been a tile contractor for, I don't want to give you all those years, but for a long time. And I had a problem with the builder. I laid out a tub and the drain was off from the faucet. And I was talking to him about it, and he goes, oh, can't you just move that drain? I said, what, over here? And he goes, yeah, can't you move it? And I said, well, why don't you go down to Home Depot or something like that and see if we can, buy an attachment to it so I can move it. And so he takes off, and he's gone for an hour or two, and make a long story short, and he runs there, and he goes to another plumbing supply place and comes back and says, hey, I brought you this thing, and obviously would move the mud up about 3 inches. And he brought back a linear drain, which was like $950, and he says, oh, we can move it this way and cut this thing down. And I was like, no, I don't want to use that. And I go, there's nothing else that we can find there? And he goes, no. So then I'm an inventor, and so I get a download. And I'm like, this is great. There's got to be something out there. I can invent something. So anyway, so I went home and I came up with the idea on how to move a drain from one position to another. So that's how CODA came to be. And you've got the Colorado Offset Drain Attachment, so shower drain relocator. So what this does, it helps you to move a drain. Let's say you tear out a tub or a shower, and you have the existing, you're doing through the demolition and everything here, and you go to move a shower drain, you have to go through all of this, the painstaking stuff of doing this. You might hit a water line, cause more damage, lots of dust and dirt, and the mother-in-law gets upset, grandma gets upset, your house gets all dusty and dirty. So what we get to do is you leave this drain, your original drain and P-trap right where it is, and what you do is you screw in CODA. You run your waterproofing over, and you run your waterproofing and you snap it in right here. I'll show you this. So this is already in place, your normal drain, your beginning drain, and then you run your waterproofing over this, and then you take this flange, and this flange goes over the top of it, for those that aren't tile contractors, and you button this down and you sandwich that into the membrane. Okay, then you take the male elbow from CODA and you screw this right in here, because this is a standard 2-inch drain, and it screws right over the top of it. So this is after your waterproofing and the plumber already inspected it. So you don't need an inspection from here on out. You're already inspected. But I don't know if that's the same for every state, so quote me on that. But then you screw this in, and CODA allows you to go in this direction, whatever direction you need to go into, okay? And then this only adds probably, it's not really even added, maybe 1.5 inches. This is the thickness of this. It's about 1.5 inches to here. So your standard mortar bed is about 2 to 3 inches anyway. So you're not adding, I wouldn't say anything extra than what you would normally do with this. So what you have here is you've got your concrete subfloor or a plywood base. You have your pre-pitch going here. You have your original drain here, and then you waterproof over the top of this, and then you extend CODA out to wherever you want to go. So this shows you the cross section of everything. and then you mortar in, and then you thin set and tile over top of the mortar. And you can place that drain wherever you'd like it to be. It makes it simple and easy. No more jackhammering, no more dust, no more getting another builder or contractor in there like a drywall guy or a painter, water running anywhere, especially if you hit a hydronic line. Most of us, I live in Colorado, a lot of the subfloors, they have 1.5 inches of concrete with radiant heat running through it. So if that's on the second floor, many times those guys hit those lines, water coming down through the ceiling, drywall falls, you've got a mess. So not only you got to pay extra contractors to come in there, you've got work delays, which can stem out over a week and a half, 2 weeks. Just depends on how busy your subcontractors are, especially a plumber and a drywall guy and or painter. So that's how CODA came to be. And if you all have any questions, I guess now would be the time to ask them.
That red layer on the top under the tile?
This right here?
No, on the top.
Up here?
Is that another layer of waterproof?
No, this is just thin set. You could run another layer of waterproofing if you wanted to.
How would we tie that into the drain?
This gets tied into the drain. I'll show you.
Waterproof.
The waterproofing.
How
Well,
would you
I've been asked that about people that want to do those the top without having this go down through the weep holes, which is this right here. Okay, right now we're not set up for that, but you could. People want to use like a I don't know, another flange like a Schluter flange or something like that. So we might extend this and add a Noble Weld flange to this, so you could have a flap on here, and then you could run that top surface waterproofing, and then it would go down through there.
Do you have an example of that drain? That part of the drain?
This, I have everything right here. So this would be your female elbow right here. And then we just chose an heavy drain. You can use any drain. And here's what you need to do. We have a stop right here. So usually these drains are about 2 inches. And so what you need to do is cut this off. This is the only hard part. You got to cut this off down to a 1/2 inch. And then what it does is it screws right into here and goes down in there. And then your mud and your tile comes right up to this. And then you're good to go. And then I've been asked this too. Here's the many questions I've been asked. If you use a linear drain, if many of you know about linear drains, they come with a sleeve, like a threaded sleeve and a smooth inner core. So what you would do is you would take that outer sleeve, that threaded sleeve, and you would cut that down to a 1/2 inch or your desired height. You would thread that in here, and then you would take your linear drain and run the inner core down, run it down, achieve your height, mark it, and then cut that off. And then that way you don't want to bottom out down in here with that inner core, because then you're not going to get any water flow. But we have this with the NSF right now for our codes and our standards, and we already got a pre-approval, and this is running more water than a 2-inch pipe. So we also, in the kit, here's the kit that you would get. Here's your CODA kit, and it comes with all your pieces in here. The 2 elbows, a 6-inch coupler, 2 2-inch couplers, an 18-inch pipe that you can cut down to fit any size if you need it for any distance. And here, let me show you the shims, because the plumbing board wants you to have, you need for pitch, you need at least 1/4 to 1/4 inch per foot. So we included shims that go out. You can put these out every foot, and then if you need to go out 2 feet, this is another 1/4 inch. They snap together like Legos. So I made it as simple as possible. So you just put those on and you extend them out, and you add your level to it, and you have your pitch for your water, and the water all flows back to here like this.
Where do those sit?
These sit on the outside. I'll show you, like this. Yeah, they sit on the base. They sit on the waterproof base. Yep, they sit on the pan, and they fit perfect in there. You can thin set them in. You can just lay them in there. We talked about thin setting this in so it doesn't move, but we've done quite a few of them without thin setting it in, and it works. You could also apply thin set here to your base over your water pan, and you could also apply thin set here if you were worried about your mortar sticking, but Let me assure you that it'll stick to the top of this. Go ahead.
Does the drain have a hair screen?
Depends on what drain you buy.
Okay.
Yeah, this isn't our drain. We sell you this kit. This is what we're selling. This isn't ours. This base isn't ours. This base is like in your shower, whatever you buy.
Your drain, yours does not have one.
No, ours is just an attachment. We take you from this end to this end. We're the pieces in the middle. So we can move that drain anywhere out on that floor without having to move this. That's the main pain right there, is moving this to here, which usually runs anywhere from, I don't know, $1,000 to $3,500 to get a plumber out there to move that.
I think it's great for moving linear drains from center drains to the wall.
Yes, absolutely. So one of the main problems has been, I just tiled a job, I don't know, a couple months ago, and the owner was a doctor, and the builder had to, she wanted it in the, let's say the shower, two side walls were here and we had the back wall here. And the owner wanted, because we were using large format tile, she wanted everything to go towards the back wall and wanted the linear drain back there. Well, the stem wall was here and he had to push the wall out past the stem wall. So he couldn't put that drain out there due to freezing. I live in Colorado. So what he did is he put it over here to the right side wall opposite of the pipe wall. And I was explaining to her husband that I have this new invention. And I had the prototype there, and because he wanted to see it. So she happened to walk in, and I was explaining everything to him, and she got it. She goes, I'll give you $1,500 right now to move that to that wall. She got it. I go, and you could. So at this point, I could do it right over the top of the waterproofing without it freezing or thawing, getting, over the stem wall. So it's great for things like that. So if a client changes their mind, you don't have to destroy the waterproofing to move the drain. If you, everyday occurrence, I have a good buddy of mine who works for Custom Thin Set, and he told me he runs into, every day he's out on jobs looking at other tile jobs and everything. And even in new construction, you want to move it, this gives you the ability to just, I don't know how many of us have experienced that. You have the ability to just, even with this kit, you can just move it 2 inches, 4 inches, 6 inches, whatever you want to do, just to make it line up for the homeowner, the client, so it lines up perfect with the shower head. So yeah, you have many configurations in this one package. This one you can cut down. You can cut this down to make any distance. These are couplers that are already in the package. And see all this, these are the adapters that go in here. Yeah, you glue those together with ABS glue. This is all made out of ABS, and so that's great for home remodels, new construction, commercial work, because in a commercial jobs you can't cut the concrete because you have stress concrete and you have I-beams going across. So if you're 3 or 4 stories up in a commercial building, you can't cut that, so you need to hire a plumber. And let's say you're in a, well, I'll give you my other story. I talked to a builder last year. He came up and hugged me. He did remodels in downtown New York. Him and 15 of his other buddies that do remodels. And he goes, you just made me rich. And I said, well, how's that? And I said, he tells me his story. He goes, well, he says, let me tell you. He goes, I go up to the 10th floor and I want to get a job remodeling the $20 million apartment. And he says, the first thing I need to do is go downstairs and talk to the guy that owns the $18 million apartment, and I need to get his permission. He says, so I got to go down there and get permission to cut through the ceiling. And he says, all the time, he says, there's always some faux painting up there, some crazy drywall texture. He goes, who knows what's on that lid? It's an $18 million apartment. He said, so if they give me permission, he says, and that's a great thing. He says, 9 times out of 10, I don't get permission. He says, but if I get permission, he says, I usually have to give them 5 or 10 grand just to, because they're going through the remodel with the client above. He goes, I got a 5 grand into plumbing permit, 5 grand for the plumber to move it. He says, then the texture in the drywall, I got to get a drywaller or a painter over there. He said, I'm almost 30,000 in just before I move the bathroom. He said, with yours, he said, I don't have to talk to the person downstairs. I don't need a plumber. I don't need a plumbing permit. and I don't need a drywaller or a painter. He says, all I need to do is screw that in and I can put that drain on that floor. He said, I'll get every job. And he was happy. He goes, let me know when you're ready. And then I asked him, I said, how many friends do you have like you? And he goes, at least 15 of us. But he educated me with one other thing. When you go over from 4 stories down, you can use ABS or PVC. But when you go from the 5th story up, he said, I need to make it out of stainless steel. So that's coming. So we're going to work on stainless steel. I guess after 911, when something catches on fire, and it'll burn up and melt that ABS and just keep going from what I understand. So they want to cut that off. They want to use stainless steel or cast, or we've had other people ask about cast iron as well. And I couldn't believe they're still using cast iron, but they are. So anyway, that's the story. So we're launching, and we're online and ready to go right now. If you're ready to place an order, we're set and ready for you. If you did place an order today, you would receive your product, I would say, towards the end of June right now. So, any more questions? Yes. Minimum length would be, you could go, I would say, just depends on which direction. I would say 1 inch. It just depends on which way you wanted to go. You could slide it this way 1 inch, or you could slide it this around. From here to here? Okay, so this is, I would say, about 10 inches right here. Yeah, this is about 10 inches. These are about 5 inches each. And then you have a coupler in the middle. But you could actually, if you had a pipe that was off, let's say this was your pipe right here, and you needed it to move just an inch, you could just swing it right here like that. Or you could bring it forward and swing it an inch this way and line yourself up. So we say anywhere from an inch to several feet. So you're able to do this. We also have another extension that we're working on. Did you guys bring that over for the P-trap? You didn't bring that? Okay. We have another, people have always asked us too, since we're going out over like 5 or 6 feet, we have another sample. We printed it off. If you would like to come by the booth, we're at 4021, and I can show it to you. We have a Mel elbow, and what it has a screw cap here. And you can screw a regular drain down on top that you can tile over the top of, and then that way you can access the P-trap, because let's face it, with long hair sometimes you might get something clogged and people are worried about that. So what you would do is you'd pop that tile and you can access the P-trap to clear the drain. So that problem is solved. And then we're coming out with other ones. So I've had tile setters talk to them. We have a steam shower here, and we have like a sauna over here, and you have a bench in the middle, and they got 2 units. So you would leave the drain here, and you could run these 2 out here, and they'll both come back. So we have a T-split drain for that too. You can run 2 off, and you don't have to move one over to here and move one over to here to accomplish the same thing. And that would cost you $3,000 or $4,000. And this is at a retail, this is going to retail for $365. And then if you're a wholesaler, we can talk. We sign you up on the site, and then I'll talk to you about that, and then adjust your price accordingly.
How quickly does the drain's profile come into being after the elbow? Could you cut the female receiver off that?
No,
Go straight to it and
You
shorten
mean-
that up even by the?
Well, I designed this not to, so this design with a coupler. But I could make, here's another one. We're in the process of making one come up like this and go like that. Like a Z shape. It would come up, go like this, and come up. All one piece. Yeah, it would even be shorter than that, yep. It would probably be about 5 to 6 inches.
And is there a maximum?
As far as,
Is there
to go out 8 or 10 feet? Not yet.
I've had plenty of people who want to flip from a tub left to a shower right.
Okay.
And that's farther than that 32 inches.
Yeah, you could add these together and just glue them together and go out 5 or 6 feet. We don't have any limits right now.
We can buy more of the extensions.
Oh yeah. Well, right now you just buy another pack. Later on, we'll be selling extension pieces if you need it. So you'll have extra pieces for your next job. It makes everything pretty simple. Anybody else have any questions? Any more questions? Okay. Okay, well, thank you all. I appreciate you all coming today. Thank you so much. And come see us at 4021.